بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين أجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني من نور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. خب, alhamdulillah, we have tawfiq to resume our study of Al-Fiqh al-Istidlali. We are on the page 478. We have very useful, beneficial discussion about Hukm al-Hakim. So we want to see, is it possible to establish the beginning of the month of Ramadan or end of month of Ramadan based on the decree which is issued by a mujtahid, by a faqih, by a jurist who is Hakim al-Shara. So Sheikh Ilwani says وقع الخلاف في حجية حكم الحاكم في ثبوت الهلال. There is a difference of opinion about validity of the decree of a jurist in establishing the new crescent. Okay, so Hakim here doesn't mean ruler or governor or king. What Hakim is, Hakim Shah, someone who has authority to issue religious verdicts or religious decrees. Wafil hadaiq. Now let us see what is the range of opinions here. Fil hadaiq, meaning fil hadaiq al-nadira, muhaddith al-Bahrani, he says أن ظاهرهم حجيته. So zahir of our fuqaha is that it's valid. لكنه استشكل فيه. But محقق or muhaddith al-Bahrani himself has objection here. He said this is very difficult. Why? بعدم الدليل. He said we don't have no reason or proof for saying that Hukm al-Hakim, even here in establishing halal, is valid. وقوى الشيخ النراقي العدم. Sheikh Naraqi Rizwanullah Ta'ala alayh, in his Mustanad al-Shia, he says al-aqwa adam al-hujjah, something like this. It's more justifiable to say that it's not hujjah. Why? Lil asl, because asl is adam al-hujjah. Asl is that you cannot establish something like halal unless it is proved otherwise. Number two, after asl, wal akhbar, yani lil akhbar, al mu'alliqa, not mu'allaqa, al mu'alliqati lis-sawm wal iftar على الرؤية أو مضي 30. The second reason for Adam al-Hujjiyah that Sheikh Naraqi has referred to is hadith that make Sawm and Iftar conditional upon Ru'ya. Sawm lil-Ru'ya. After للرؤيا, or if it's not رؤيا, مضي 30, or after 30 days passing from previous month which was established by رؤيا, you can say okay, 30 days passed, so definitely this month is finished, tomorrow is the new moon. Okay, so these hadiths make Sawm, which is beginning of Ramadan, or Iftar at the end, which is beginning of Shawwal, conditional upon Ru'ya or passing of 30 days. Also, we have a hadith which says, don't follow, dhan, suspicion, or you can say, things which would not give certainty, even if they give you 60, 70, 80% of probability. وَالنَّاهِيَّةِ عَنِ التَّظَنِّ. Tavanni means to act according to dhan, suspicion. خب قول الحاكم لا يفيد أكثر من الظن. Sheikh in Arabic says قول الحاكم doesn't give certainty. The maximum it can give is to make you think that okay, it's more likely that it is the beginning of the month or it is the end of the month, etc. Doesn't give yaqeen. So number one, lil-as. Number two, because of the hadith which says you should only follow Ru'ya or passing of 30 days and don't follow anything which is not certain. Sahibul Madarik has said that there are two sides to this point, and he seems undecided. So he finds that to say it is valid, it's possible. To say it's not valid, it is possible. None of them is definitely wrong. وَفِي الْمَدَارِكِ أَنَّ فِي الْمَسْأَلَةِ وَجْهَيْنِ. He says in this issue there are two sides. It means both sides have some weight, some strength. وَلَمْ يُرَجَّحْ أَحَدُهُمْ. He has not preferred any side over the other. He has not said Hujjiyah is aqwa or Adam or Hujjiyah is aqwa. No. وَاخْتَارَ فِي الْجَوَاهِرِ. Sahib Jawahir Ridwanullah Ta'ala alayhi, he has chosen al-Hujjiyah. Hujjiyah to qawlin or hukm al-haakim. Why? He says because we have reasons that says hukm al-haakim, hukm al-mujtahid, who is qualified, is like hukm of ma'soom, and if we don't accept, we are rejecting the view of ma'soom, as we have in some hadith. الراد عليهم كالراد علينا والراد علينا كالراد على الله. So he says this kind of reason is mutlaq. Its generality includes hilal as well. واختار في الجواهر الحجية. Why? لإطلاق ما دل على نفوذ حكم الحاكم. Because what has indicated that decree or verdict of hakim is effective. Nufuz means it's effective. Whatever has indicated nufuz hukm al-hakim is mutlaq. It's not muqayyad to a particular thing. And whoever whoever rejects hakim, كالراد عليهم عليهم السلام, is like whoever rejecting ma'sumin عليهم السلام. So they are somehow naibul imam, not like nubwab arba'eh. They were nubwab khas, but these are also nubwab am, means they are designated by qualifications, not by name. They are not appointed by name, but based on qualification. So you see, some say Adamul Hujjiyah is more powerful, some say Hujjiyah, some say both have, good strengths. So there are different opinions. Sheikh Irwani says, وأحسن ما يمكن الاستدلال به على الحجية وجوه ثلاثة. The best things that can be used to argue for hujjiyah are three. So the best ways for arguing for hujjiyah, for validity of hukm al-haakim fil hilal, are three. Okay, so now we explain them one by one and see whether we agree or we don't agree. Al-wajhul awwal. The first way to argue for validity of hukm al-haakim fil hilal, بعض الأخبار, some hadith. منها صحيحة محمد بن قيس عن أبي جعفر عليه السلام. There is authentic hadith that Muhammad ibn Qais quotes from Imam Baqir alayhi salam. And this hadith, as you see in the footnote 3, is cited by the late Hurra Amili in Wasa'il al-Shi'ah. Okay? So, hadith reads as follows. إذا شهد عند الإمام شاهدان. If two witnesses bear witness in the presence of Imam. Some people may say Imam is ma'asum, but Sheikh Irwani says no, Imam is more general. It can be ma'asum or it can be haakim shahr. Means whoever is in charge of Muslim affairs, who is, waliyul am, doesn't have to be ma'asum. If you say it's about ma'asum, then it wouldn't be useful for our discussion because we're talking about haakim shahr who is not ma'asum. But if you say Imam is Waliyul Amr, it includes Hakim Shahr as well. So, إذا شهد عند الإمام الشاهدان. If two witnesses bear witness in presence of Imam, so they offer their testimony to the Imam, to the leader. What do they say? أنهما رأي الهلال منذ 30 يوما. They say, we saw the crescent 30 days ago. So the previous month ended with sighting the moon for this month. Now 30 days passed, so must be a new month. Tomorrow must be new months, yeah? Because in lunar calendar, no month is more than 30. It can be 29, it can be 30. If it is 30 already, it must be then new month. So, if they offer such testimony, أمر الإمام بالإفطار ذلك اليوم. Imam says that, okay, people now should break their fasting إذا كان شهد قبل زوال الشمس. If their testimony was given before Zuhr. So in the morning say 30 days have already passed. This is the 31st. So they break their fasting. وَإِنْ شَهِدَ بَعْدَ زَوَالِ الشَّمْسِ. But if they bear witness after Zuhr, أمر يعني أمر الإمام بالإفطار ذلك اليوم. Again, Imam says, okay, they should break their fast that day, but Salatul Eid will be recited next day. وأخر الصلاة إلى الغد. He would delay Salat to tomorrow, next day. فصلى بهم, and then he would lead the Salat next day. You see, here we are talking about أمر الإمام بالإفطار. أمر الإمام is حكم الحاكم. So other people would not need to listen to witnesses, etc. When for Imam something is established, and if he declares a verdict, then other people would follow. But some people have said we don't accept that Imam here means Hakim Shara or includes Hakim Shara. Imam is Ma'soom, infallible leaders. أجاب غير واحد, more than one faqih have said that بأن المقصود من الإمام هو المعصوم. At least there is احتمال, there is a chance. إذا جاء الاحتمال بطل الاستدلال. Even if we say maybe Imam means Ma'soom, you cannot then argue from this hadith. You can only argue from this hadith if you can establish that Imam is Hakim Shar or includes Hakim Shar. You have to establish this. If Imam may be Ma'soom, that is enough to stop you arguing from this. إذا جاء الاحتمال بطل الاستدلال. أجاب غير واحد بأن المقصود من الإمام هو المعصوم. If you don't accept that maqsood is ma'soom, لا أقل من احتماله. At least there is possibility that Imam is ma'soom. So you cannot argue. خب. Sheikh Ibani says, if we do a survey of hadith in which such expression al-imam is used, you will find that imam in such context is used to refer to man biyadihi al-amr, who is in charge, waliyul amr, who is in charge of Muslim affairs, means a leader, even if he's not ma'soom. يرد أن تتبع الروايات يشهد باستعمالها في من بيده الأمر. So surveying hadith would be a witness or would indicate that this ibara is used for who has Muslim affairs in his hand. For example, in different issues about, for example, issue of ila, which is the first case we find this, or sorry, the second hadith. In the issue of, for example, nafaqah, we find this. There are several issues that Hakim Ashar gets involved. Let's see some of these hadiths. These hadiths are not directly about halal. These hadiths are mentioned to show that al-imam is very often used for man biyadihi al-amr. Okay, in fiqh. For example, Sahihat Abi Basir, Sami'tu Abu Ja'far alayhi salam. Abu Basir says, I heard Imam Baqir saying, Man kanat indahum ra'atun فلم يكسها ما يواري عورتها ويطعمها. If someone has a wife and would not provide her with proper dress, proper food, he is not looking after his wife, كان حقا على الإمام أن يفرق بينهما. Imam has a right to divorce, to separate them. Al-Imam here means Hakim Shah, not only Ma'soom. فإن المراد من بيده الأمر. What is meant by Al-Imam here is who has Muslim affairs in his hand. وَلِذَا جَوَّزَ الْفُقَهَاءُ ذَلِكَ لِلْفَقِيهِ. And this is why fuqaha have said that this divorce can happen, is permissible to be conducted by faqih, hakim al-shara. Not, of course, every mujtahid, but at least the mujtahid who is hakim al-shara, because sometimes there are mujtahids that maybe they are not in charge of socio-political life, of people. Another case is ila. Before I read the hadith, a reminder, you have studied in fiqh. Ila was a practice in Jahiliyyah that some people used to do it after Islam, and then it was prohibited. Someone was saying to his wife, either for 4 months or forever, I'm not going to sleep with you, I'm not going to have any marital relation with you, and was not divorcing the wife, and was not also having a marital relation with the wife, was abandoning the wife with the intention of making her suffer. Okay, Sahihatul Kanani and Abi Abdullah alayhi salam from Imam Sadiq al-Ila'u an yaqula ar-rajul limra'atihi wallahi la'aqidannaka wa la'asu'annaka. Aqidannaka in some text it is with a va, not a vat, from ghayza. By God, I am going to upset you and make you hurt, annoy you. They were making qasam to annoy and hurt and upset their wives. ثُمَّ يَهْجُرُهَا, and then was abandoning her, not sleeping, the same bed. وَلَا يُجَامِعُهَا, having no marital relation. حتى تمضي 4 أشهر, على الأقل the least was 4 months, sometimes was forever. فقد وقع الإيلاء, so this إيلاء then takes place. ينبغي للإمام أن يجبره على أن يفيء أو يطلق. It is expected that Imam would force him to return. Yafiya means to yarja, to return, or divorce her. فَإِنْ فَاءَ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ غَفُورٌ. If he returns and regrets, does tawbah, Allah is forgiving. وَإِنْ عَزَمَ الطَّلَاقَ, and if decides to divorce, فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ سَمِيعٌ عَلِيمٌ. Allah is hearing, Allah is aware. Allah is going to consider everything, all the intention, all the suffering caused by this.
Recording in progress.
وَيَنْبَغِي لِلْإِمَامِ أَنْ يُجْبِرَهُ عَلَىٰ أَنْ يَفِيءَ أَوْ يُطَلِّقَ. It is expected that the Imam would force him to return or divorce. She cannot abandon this lady and make her hanging, doesn't know what to do. Either should return or divorce. فَإِنْ فَاءَ, if he returns, he is doing tawbah, he returns and regrets. فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. Inshallah, Allah is going to forgive. وَإِنْ عَزَمَ الطَّلَاقَ, and if he's going to do the divorce, فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ سَمِيعٌ عَلِيمٌ. Allah is hearing, Allah is aware, Allah knows who has done what and who is responsible, etc. And this is not the only hadith. وَغَيْرَهَا, there are other hadiths as well. Also, we have it in the case of zihar, which is again about marital relation. So al-imam here means haakim al-shar. وَصَحِيحَةُ Muhammad ibn Muslim and Abi Ja'far alayhi salam. Also in another case, we have this Sahih Muhammad ibn Muslim alayhi salam. من شهر السلاح في مصر من الأمصار. If someone takes out weapon in a city, one of the cities, someone goes out with weapon and terrorizes people. فَأَقَرَ, if he injures, اقتص منه. فَأَقَرَ اقتص, if you do wasl. If you don't do wasl, it's اقتص. So there will be qisas. Okay? وَنُفِيَ مِن تِلْكَ الْبَلَدِ, also will be sent to exile. He cannot live in the same city. If someone does the same thing, وَضَرَبَ وَعَقَرَ وَأَخَذَ الْمَالِ, also steals money. Takes the weapon, frightens people, steals their money. But وَلَمْ يَقْتُلْ, even if he has not killed anyone, فَهُوَ مُحَارِبٌ, he is considered as muharib لله ورسوله. فَجَزَاؤُهُ جَزَاءُ الْمُحَارِبِ, his punishment is punishment of muharib. If he has killed someone, it's very obvious, he's a murderer. But even if he has not killed, he is muharib. وَأَمْرُهُ إِلَى الْإِمَامِ, it will be left to the imam to decide what should be done to him. إِنْ شَاءَ قَتَلَهُ وَصَلَّبَهُ وَإِنْ شَاءَ قَطَعَ يَدَهُ وَرِجْلَهُ. Imam decides about how this muharib, whose punishment is mentioned also in the Quran, should be punished. Should he be crucified? Should he be killed in another way? It's up to him. So, our discussion is not about this issue now. Our discussion about al-imam. Again, al-imam here seems to be not only ma'soom. It's about hakimish. وَصَحِيحَةِ بُرَيْدِ الْعِجْلِ, the same person that, we quote in social velaya discussion, the hadith of أَيَّذَوْ أَحَدُكُمْ يَدَهُ فِي كِيسَ أَخِيهِ فَيَخُذُ حَاجَتَهُ. So Burayd al-Ijli says, سُئِلَ أبو جعفر عليه السلام عن رجل شهد عليه الشهود أنه أفطر من شهر رمضان 3 أيام. About a person that witnesses confirm and bear witness that in the month of Ramadan he broke fasting 3 days. Of course, he has done it, in private. That's between him and Allah. But he has done it in public, in front of others. On the street, for example, he was eating in the month of Ramadan. قال يسأل. Imam alayhi salam said he will be asked. If he says that I didn't fast, but I am sorry, I was a sinful person, then he might be punished because of not showing respect to the etiquettes of the month of Ramadan, and in public eating, drinking, etc. But if he denies that this was a bad thing and he says it was okay, meaning that he denies wujub of fasting and respect of fasting, then Imam would punish him severely. Of course, this is a hadith that a faqih should discuss, and we cannot, even if hadith sahih, make a verdict. But the point just is about usage of the term al-imam. So, يسأل هل عليك في إفطارك إثم? Have you committed any sin by breaking fast? فَإِنْ قَالَ لَا, if he says no, I didn't do anything wrong, there was no need to observe, fasting in the month of Ramadan. فَإِنَّ عَلَى الْإِمَامِ أَنْ يَقْتُلَهُ, it's upon Imam to punish him by qatl, according to this hadith. There might be other, conditions, etc. explained in other ways. وَإِنْ قَالَ نَعَمْ. But if he says, yes, I don't deny zaruri of zaruriyat ad-din. Because, every person, Muslim, non-Muslim, knows that Muslims in the months of Ramadan believe in fasting. And if someone denies and there is no, possibility of interpreting otherwise, it can mean that he denies Islam. So if a Muslim denies Islam, becomes murtad. Anyway, that's not our discussion now. If he says, Na'am, I committed a sin, I'm not denying fasting. فَإِنَّ عَلَى الْإِمَامِ أَنْ يَنْهِكَهُ ضَرْبًا. Imam would punish him, maybe, for example, wiping, for example, something. قَرِيبٌ مِّنْهَا غَيْرُهَا. And this is not the only hadith. We have other hadiths about this issue where al-imam is used. So how many cases we mentioned? We mentioned the case of not giving clothes, proper clothes and food, ila, and we said غيرها. We mentioned one hadith for ila, but there are other. Then about muharib, then about this person who doesn't fast and eats on the, for example, street, etc. إلى غيرها من الموارد الكثيرة التي ورد فيها لفظ الإمام ولم يقصره الفقهاء على المعصوم. And there are other cases, many cases, that Imam is mentioned and fuqaha have not restricted it to ma'soom. وبالمقارنة بين روايتنا وهذه الروايات لا يبعد حصول الاطمئنان بوحدة المقصود. If we compare our hadith, that if two people come and bear witness that 30 days ago they so then we said if they bear witness before Zuhr, after Zuhr, what should Imam do? If you compare that hadith with these hadiths, it's not unlikely to say that we will have itminan. Itminan means probability is close to certainty to 100%. No hesitation remains in the heart. That this is the same. Imam means the same in these hadiths. فَلَا وَجْهَ لِلتَّفْرِقَةِ. There is no reason for distinguishing, saying in these hadiths means general, in our hadith means ma'soom. Plus, there is one more point. Allah, moreover, أنه لو حملناها على من بيده الأمر. If we say, as we say, Imam means Waliyul Amr. Alal Imam, to do this means insha, means the Imam that was saying this, for example, Imam Baqir alayhi salam, was saying that Mujtahid must do this. So it's insha. So Imam is doing insha of wazife and hukm for Mujtahid. But if we say Imam here means ma'asum, then one ma'asum would not make wazifa for another ma'asum. So it becomes ikhbar. It becomes ikhbar, not insha. Means he would inform that ma'asum would do this. So, ala annahu law hamalnaha ala man biyadihi al-amr, as we say, as Sheikh Irwani says, كانت دالة على الإنشاء. Then this will be indicating إنشاء. بخلاف ما لو حملناها على الإمام المعصوم فإنها تكون دالة على الإخبار. Why? Because Imam Ma'asum would not make hukm for another Ma'asum. It is very unlikely. لبعد حكم إمام على بقية الأئمة. we may say, okay, we take it ikhbar. He says, ikhbar is ba'id. When we say ala al-imam, it seems to mean insha, not ikhbar. Okay? وَهُوَ بَعِيدٌ. To say it is ikhbar, it's ba'id. So, this was all about al-wajhul awwal. We said there are three ways to argue for validity of hukm al-haakim fil hilal. Okay? So there are three. أحسن ما يمكن الاستدلال به على الحجية من حجية حكم الحاكم في الحلال وجوه ثلاثة. الوجه الأول بعض الأخبار. We completed this discussion. الوجه الثاني. I mentioned the beginning of this discussion to prepare your mind, and then inshallah we continue in the next session بإذن. As I said, this discussion is very useful because it has some of the points that relate to hukm al-hakim and also to the issue of, authority of faqih, wilayat al-faqih. الوجه الثاني التوقيع الشريف الصادر من الناحية المقدسة الذي رواه في الوسائل. There is a written message from Imam Mahdi Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Farajuh Sharif. Interestingly, in the last KLC webinar on Saturday, on Sunday, we talked about this tawqi because it was about Imam Mahdi Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Farajuh Sharif. Sahibul Wasail, late Sheikh Hurra Amili Rizwanullah Ta'ala alayh, quotes this hadith from Ikmaluddin by Sheikh Saduq Rizwanullah Ta'ala. Sheikh Saduq reports this hadith and Muhammad ibn Isam and Muhammad ibn Ya'qub and Ishaq ibn Ya'qub قال سألت محمد بن عثمان العمري, who was Na'ibul Imam, one of those four deputies of Imam was Muhammad ibn Uthman al-Amri. He said, I asked him, and yusilali kitaban, I had a written message including some questions which were difficult for me. I requested him to pass on this message to al-Imam al-Hujjah alayhi salam. أن يوصل لي كتابا قد سألت فيه عن مسائل أشكلت علي. I had asked in that written message, that note, some questions which were difficult for me. فورد التوقيع بخط مولانا صاحب الزمان عليه السلام. Then a written reply came with the handwriting of Imam al-Hujjah. In that tawqi' is mentioned وَأَمَّا الْحَوَادِثُ الْوَاقِعَةِ فَارْجِعُوا فِيهَا إِلَى رُوَاةِ حَدِيثِنَا. In the events that happen when there are new issues, new affairs, that you need guidance about what to do. If something has already happened in the past and you have received guidance, then it's clear. But even for something new, still you should refer to Rawat Hadithana, to those who know our hadith, are familiar with our hadith, are experts about our hadith, and based on that they can give you guidance. Because ijtihad is for new issues, but based on the same sources that we have. Ijtihad can be for old issues as well, but if in the time of Imam there was no need for ijtihad in the sense of today. In that time, ijtihad was mostly a matter of applying general rules to particular rules. In the time of Imam, the ijtihad of non-ma'soom was very simple. In our time, ijtihad is very complicated. In any case, they need to be familiar with our sources, with our hadith. Then, these people that you should refer to, فَإِنَّهُمْ حُجَّتِي عَلَيْكُمْ, they are my hujjah upon you. وَأَنَا حُجَّةُ اللَّهِ عَلَيْهِمْ, and I'm hujjah upon them. So, you have to refer to them, they have to refer to me. Okay? خب, if they have such power and such authority, then they should be able to also issue verdict about halal, about beginning of the month, end of the month, among other things. So this is the point. Inshallah, little by little it becomes clear. وَهُوَ قَدْ يُسْتَشْهَدُ بِهِ فِي مَجَالَاتٍ عِدَّةٍ, in several places, issues, they refer to this hadith. كَحُجِّيَةِ خَبَرِ الثِّقَةِ, for example, when they want to discuss about validity of the hadith of a narrator who is reliable, they refer to this. جواز تقلید, why we can follow, for example, a marja. One reason is this. وَوِلَايَةِ الْفَقِيهِ, in the issue of wilayat al-faqih, they refer to this hadith as one evidence among others. وَنُفُوذ قَضَائِهِ, قضاء الفقيه, if faqih makes a judgment, why it is effective, why it is valid, they refer to this. Also حجية وحجية حكم الحاكم في الهلال محل الكلام, or محل الكلام. Also, our issue, our discussion, the point that we are discussing about validity of حكم الحاكم is one of these cases that can be sorted out based on this hadith. So, this is the general point. But again, وَقَدْ يُشْكَلْ عَلَى دَلَالَتِهِ, but some people make objections to ability of this hadith proving this point. They say this hadith doesn't mean what you say. It's not about thubut al-hilal, etc. For example, they say it is about something that it's only to imam to decide. Halal can be sorted out by seeing, witnesses, etc. So there are discussions, inshallah, in the next session. We will discuss objections to this hadith and the answers that might be there to these objections. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Do you have any question? Any question is there? You are welcome. May Allah bless you, inshallah. Okay, we can, inshallah, end.